Hey beautifuls, psychic reading time. I haven't done public psychic readings for quite some time, it feels like. So as always, let me know when you're here and I'll explain how the psychic readings work, actually. If I can get my words out, might help, right? All right, let me just pull this up because it just disappeared again. As always, sharing this. Oh my goodness, okay, it's not working yet. Just gonna quit off for a moment. Quit off and come back in because let me share this. If you can hear anything, that's my daughter laughing in the background. All right. Yes, that's where we want to share it for sure. To my personal page and to my group. There's lots of things that I want to say, but I was guided to come on and do psychic readings. So we shall see what comes through in the psychic readings, hey? Okay, that is done. Let me get out of here. All right. And I'm going to bring up comments. Hi Gail, hi Lena and Doreen, and I think I saw Robinson there as well, which is exciting. Okay, perfect. Hi Julie. Okay, got all my, no, I don't have all my decks here. I've got a lot of my decks. So I'm just going to start with psychic readings because I haven't done them for ages. So not publicly anyway. Hi Danielle. All right, so how my psychic readings work, if you'd like to book a private psychic reading, I will drop the link in now actually, and I'll pin that to the top. So you can either book a private reading or with the psychic readings that I do here, I'm just going to pin that comment there so you can always find that link to book a private reading. Now, obviously on the live stream, I won't have time to get to everybody. So I will just intuitively choose a few. Lena says, best money you ever spent. Yes. Awesome. And I will intuitively choose people. If I don't get to you or if I don't pick you, please listen in anyway, okay? Because there's always a message for you if you just listen in, right? The other thing you can do is if you're watching the replay, you can comment replay below or hashtag replay below if you are watching the replay. And with the like if you are watching the replay, what you can do is you can like think of the question you want to ask, or maybe just, I don't know, just tell me a message, right? Just, you could be open to a message. And with the replay, what you can do is literally like scroll the little toggle across and just stop it randomly. Like just stop it wherever you feel called to stop, right? And just press play and just listen to what we're talking about in that moment, and it'll be a message for you as well. Okay. Hi, Madonna. Okay, so if you would like a psychic reading, what I'll do is I'll get you to say, yes, Hannah, reading please, or yes please, in the comments now, and then I'll intuitively scan through and see who I feel called to read. The only thing with these readings is you have to be on live. So once we kind of get going through a few times of me reading different people, I just have to make sure you're here because otherwise I won't read you. So yeah. All right, so I'll let those comments come in. Oh, I haven't done readings for ages. How exciting. Well, not publicly, like I keep saying. It happens in my private groups a bit, and oh, that's a card for somebody. So is this one. All right, awesome. Let's go over these here. Okay. You're excited for me. I know, right? It's weird. I haven't done them for ages. I'm like, oh, time to do readings. Okay, so Robinson is who I feel called to do this reading for. Now, the first card that I pulled out was, actually, it was the owl. Interesting. Okay, owl, deception and wisdom. So deception and wisdom from the owl. Owls for me are really special. So owls are deeply grounded in the goddess wisdom, right? Now, also with the owl, it is about, in the liquid crystals, owl relates to iolite. So all the liquid crystals in the liquid crystal have an animal totem associated with it. And iolite is associated with owl. Now, owl is associated with, iolite is really about healing from codependent relationships, funnily enough, or not going around in circles anymore. So I'm curious what that is for you. And I feel like, have you, I don't know what your relationship status is like, but, are you in a relationship or out of a relationship? Did you just get back in a relationship, or did you go back into something? Because I feel like owl is like reminding you of the truth, reminding you of your inner wisdom. Like, the truth. Don't be deceived by the shiny things on the outside. And it's interesting because the other card that came out with that is burden. Like, what is the burden that you're carrying with that, right? What is the burden that comes with that, going back into that cycle, right? And I wonder if you're like, yeah, but then all of a sudden you're kind of feeling heavy already and you're like, oh, or maybe you're like, yeah, and then you've like had these signs that like, yeah, no, actually, right? And so I feel like there's a bit of that going on there. The bottom card of the deck is the bee. Very connected to the goddess as well is the bee. Luck, industriousness, sweet victory. So it's like trusting your intuition. Yeah, trusting intuition. Don't be deceived by the big shiny thing on the outside. Does it feel like a burden? You really need to like pay attention to that. Does it make you feel light and free? Or does it make you feel like you're carrying a burden? Now, with the bee being the sweet victory underneath, I feel like it is about trusting intuition with that. And then the other card that I just pulled is the High Priestess. So again, tapping into intuition. Your intuition knows, like, don't be deceived. And it's not like it can also be like not a bad deceit. It's just almost like, hey, just remember what your intuition was just showing you about things. Like, now that it's all fine and rosy, like, don't be deceived again. Meaning, like, just don't ignore your intuition again. Like, don't go back into that. And the High Priestess card is really confirming that. Discernment, prescience, prophecy, and vision, right? So this is really coming into intuition. So there's 2 intuition cards there for you. What feels like a burden and what doesn't, because as soon as you release that burden, like it'll lift, it lifts from your field, right? You're currently single. So when I saw the message about the bee, I was wondering if it was about work or even family, like because of the industriousness. Like if you think of like a beehive, it's like a hive of energy. Beehive is lots of construction. That's not the right words. Like a beehive is very busy, right? And that's the kind of energy that I'm picking up there, right? And so it's like, what is it that you are needing to tune into intuition for? What is the burden that you need to let go of, that you don't need to carry anymore, so that you can take your intuition, therefore your life, to the next level, because you're carrying on with what that feels like in alignment for you. Robinson, I'm not sure if you watched my live stream from the other day, Tuesday, well, maybe Monday your time, when I had the realization on there about carrying somebody else's dreams and where I thought I was supposed to go with my life and my life purpose even. So the burden makes me wonder what that is that you're carrying, right? Yes, the issue between you and your family, yeah. And it feels like if I pursue what I want, then they'll try and knock me down and ruin my life. Yeah, that happens when you're trying to leave the family system. Like, it's literally what happens, right? So the burden is like, doing it anyway. Like, and it's interesting because the two intuition cards, it's like, you know what you have to do, but right now it feels like a burden. Even your intuition feels like a burden in a way. So I'm just opening the window because it's like rainy, sunny. It's like hot, cold. So, you know, your intuition already knows. Yeah, your intuition knows that. So what is the burden that you just need to release? Because now hearing that, I feel like your intuition feels like a burden because you're like, oh, well, if I follow that, then this is going to happen. So when you say like they'll try to knock you down, because the B is the industriousness, but it's also success and victory. This is about following your goddess intuition, right? Of what you're being guided to do with that. And it's like, when you say knock you down, like, is there, I want to say, can you do it anyway? What is it worth? What is it worth? Like, is it worth it not following your dreams, right? Is it worth it not listening to that intuition, is what I would be asking yourself. Because at the moment it feels like a burden because you're putting too much weight on the family system and the validation from that. And when we break out and do something different, we're always going to get that knockback, always. But then it becomes normal what we're doing, and the knockback isn't there anymore because this is who we are now. Yeah? Whenever we do anything normal, anything that's not normal, right? But then it becomes normal because we just keep doing it. Yeah? But it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Yeah. Okay. All right. So when I finish with somebody, so thanks Robinson for letting me read you. Exciting. If you guys can just put yes please again in now, so I've got a fresh list of people who are still on live, who I can choose the next reading for, would be amazing. And sometimes it's best we just don't tell our family or those closest to us what we're doing. We just don't tell them. Yeah, we just don't tell them, because otherwise they will knock us down. Like, it's hard because we want to share our excitement with them and look what we're doing and get just validation from our family. It just doesn't freaking happen. So we just need to validate ourselves and do it anyway, right? Yeah, you're so welcome, Robinson. Okay, so let me just check this here. New list. Okay, Julie. So Julie, I've pulled the patience card, and then also the overcoming difficulties card. I don't know, it seemed like I'm doing 3 card readings today. So, and then leadership. Ooh, how exciting. I feel like this is related to releasing family burdens as well for you. How interesting. There's all this family burden stuff. Oh, funny about that. So this card, the patience, have patience with yourself. Okay, it says, your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realize. Still, they need nurturing and patience. This is Archangel Jophiel, making things better. Beautiful, sorry is the word, but making things better, right? Interesting. Overcoming difficulties is the Archangel Jeremiah, which is very connected to third eye, and seeing the truth in relationships. And you can see he's like on his own path. Flying on his own wing, flying in his own feather. I'm out of here. So it makes me wonder, what situations do you need to walk away from? What situations do you need to put stronger boundaries in place? Overcoming difficulties. And then we've got leadership. So Archangel Gabriel is the leadership card. It's time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others. Now, I just feel like there's a lot of walking away that needs to happen here for you, Julie, in particular. So walking away from all the crap that no longer serves you. And I feel like you have done that, but I feel like it's almost like you have walked away, but there's dregs, like there's threads and dregs that need to be cleaned up, is the sense that I'm getting there. And that's where it's like the worst is now behind you and you are surmounting to any previous challenges. But it's like, it still feels like, ugh, at the moment, right? But the worst is now behind you, but it's now cleaning up. It's almost like cleaning up the past is what that feels like. The leadership card I feel like is you taking your power back. So yes, you can step into a leadership role and lovingly guide others if you've been getting that message, of course. But this is also about you literally taking back your power and being able to, you know, like, I want to say not be affected by it anymore, but it's not that. It's literally like doing it anyway, right? Doing it anyway, but it does feel like cleaning up the dregs. So yeah, that's what that feels like there. And I feel like there's a lot of, oh, that would make sense. So what's jumping out of me on the card, I don't know if you can see, is the mountain and the cloud above it, right? It looks like a very interesting cloud formation. And the clouds, I was like, there's higher messages that wants to come through. There's higher information. There's intuitive information that wants to come through. Like there's messages that want to come through for you. Your higher self is trying to speak to you, right? And the clairaudience is Archangel Zadkiel. Notice the loving guidance you hear inside your mind or from other people. So this is about your intuition speaking to you through your clairaudience, which I feel that as the further and further you walk away from that situation, the louder your intuition is going to get. Yeah, and there's a lot of information that wants to come through, which would make sense about the leadership card and stepping up and sharing that. So Julie says, an ex, I'm trying to get him out of my head. Yes, so sometimes we can't get them out of our head because number one, we're attached to them and we're attached to them energetically. The other reason we can't get them out of our head is because we haven't grieved enough and we haven't like grieved and purged enough. I haven't done enough like releasing, if that makes sense. Yep, Julie says, I've been getting messages as songs. Yes, exactly. So our clairaudience is literally receiving messages in songs. We might hear, you know, a song, get a song stuck inside our head. I know this is Archangel Zadkiel, but Archangel Sandalphon is very connected to the sound as well. So yeah, notice the loving guidance you hear inside your mind or from other people. Song randomly plays in the shopping center and you're, you know, just doing your thing, and then all of a sudden all you can hear, you know, when like everything kind of goes silent or muffly and all you can hear is this one clear thing, like overhearing a conversation, or just a song is so loud on the speaker, you're like, why is that so loud? But it's like the only thing you can hear and everything else is muffled. Does anybody have that? Do you guys ever get that? Exactly that. Pay attention to the song, to the sound, and what you're hearing. So yes, definite yes for this. All right. Okay. I was caught singing while shopping. That's exactly right. Okay. All right, guys. So new person. So if you can comment, yes, please, Hannah. So I have a fresh list of names in here to choose from. Doreen says, I wake up with a song in my head and I'll listen to it. I will sing it and it always has a message for what I'm going through. Yeah, it's a very, very powerful way of receiving your intuition, guys. So pay attention to those songs. If you're not sure what the lyrics are, just Google. Like, you only need to Google a tiny bit of a song at the moment. Well, I don't know, maybe it's always been that way. And it usually comes up. It doesn't take much to be able to find it. So, yeah, and like, yeah, pay attention to those, to the words in the songs, for sure. For sure. Okay, Lena. You're so welcome, Julie. So Lena, this is for you. Whoa. Lena, I feel like I've been stabbed in the heart. Yeah, that's my heart. I'm burping, guys. I'm clearing energy. Sorry, that's so strong, Lena. I'm like, who was that? It's like, have you stabbed your own self in your own heart? Like, not literally, of course, but like energetically. And I'm like, my logical mind is like, that doesn't make sense because she seems like she's been in a good place lately. That's really strong. What is that about, Lena? As I pull the protection card for you. And the worthiness card. And the waves of prosperity card. Now I know what you've been I do know bits because I know you're interested in intuition and whatever other place I was talking to you recently in something else. So protection, worthiness, and waves of prosperity. Oh, that was really strong. Contemplation time. Meditation is the bottom card of the deck. Oh, great. In all the places. Yeah, exactly. It's awesome. So contemplation time is the meditating, right? Okay, so this is quite intricate. So have you been meditating on your desires? Literally what it says. Spend time alone, meditating upon what you truly desire. Okay, so have you been thinking about that? Have you been, tuning into what you want, visualizing, manifesting, doing all the things? I imagine that you would have been, right? Tell me if you haven't. Because I know you would have. And it's interesting. So it's like you're focusing on your future vision, on your creating your life, basically how you want, life by design. You're protected, although I just got like stabbed in the heart, right? And then it's the worthiness card, yeah? So the worthiness card here, and it's like, know that you deserve to receive good in all ways. And then the waves of prosperity, new abundance and exciting opportunities wash over you now. Now, I know what you've just been through because I know you're in my groups and Trust Intuition and stuff. So, you know what we've just done in the past, I don't know, time's flying, maybe the past year, right? And I feel like this is what this is about. So you've protected yourself, you've decided this is not okay, and you've got out. Now, I know you've been working, and so whatever group we were talking in the other day, and it was one of the business sort of ones. Oh my God, it's so weird, I can't think about it. Anyway, I know we were talking, and then I was like, no, now's not the time to give up. Like, you need to keep going now. Now's the most important time to keep going, right? And that's like the worthiness, knowing that what you do and what you offer is good enough. And then the waves of prosperity come from that, right? Which I think the next day you're like, I got my first client. I'm like, yes, or not. I don't know if it's first client, but probably not first client. But you had a booking or something. So it came in. But it's so interesting. This feels quite deep. So with what you've been working on and shifting away from, like, it's almost, and I want to ask you, how long has it been since you've left, separated? Of course, you don't have to share. I'm like, is it 18 months? It wouldn't be that long. And I'm like, I don't know. I know I've been very out of time lately. So I'm curious about that. And I'm curious if it's coming up on either a 6 month, 12 month or 18 month point in the timeline, because that felt like, I wanted to say you've been stabbed in the back, right? And this is all energetically, I'm talking, of course. And that stab in the back is from your ex. And I know, but I felt it in the front, but it's the heart, right? And so it's like working on the prosperity and growing and expanding business, etc., building a life, creating a life for yourself. The undertone is like that. Like, do you know what I mean? So 12 months ago, okay, so October 2019, you moved out to that, yeah. So it is coming up to the 18-month point, okay. So it's like a big birthing point, right? And I feel like that's where you're like, it's not working. And I'm like, now's the time to open it up. And you're like, it's worked, right? Okay, I felt something in the back of my heart last night, actually. Okay, awesome. So this is where this is coming out, yeah? So what are we? Oh, October. Hang on a sec. I need to do the maths because my brain's not good at maths. It's October. So October, November, December, January, February. So another 2 months, and that's the 18 months, right? So that's kind of interesting. So that, when you left and the separation and your ex and all that, whatever happened, it was like, how fucking dare you, right? Like, how dare you? You know, like, that's the stab in the back, if that makes sense, from all the way back then. And I felt like you've been carrying it since then. And it's almost like, I really felt it there, like, just straight in there, this big, like, but it's, as you say now, I'm like, oh, it's like a big spear, like, got you from behind. When you walked away, how dare you? That's the kind of energy, right? Feel that deeply, yeah. So I would be working on removing that. Now, how would you do that? You could do the process in module 4 in Trust Intuition, You could just see what comes through from now, this realization and the clarity about what's sitting there. And I just feel like this will all, you know, this is all happening, and it's the worthiness and what you've done and walked away, etc. But that will really like exponentially, you know, expand. And I'm hearing the 4 months, so it's kind of like we're on that 3 months either side of that 18-month point that I always talk about. Yeah. So this is kind of quite deep, right? And you feel that from his family. Yeah. And so that's the, how dare you do that? Break up the family and all that. All of those things, right? So yeah, I'd be working with that, because, you know, if there's a block to moving forward, it's that. It's not like, oh, it stopped you. It's like we're coming up on that 18-month point, and there's 18 people, and there's 18th of February today. I'm just seeing all these 18s everywhere. The 18-month point, you know, like it, I want to say it might get rocky, but I don't know if it's rocky. It's just like there might be big purgings coming up. And that's like, you know, that kind of final point of, well, it's not final, there's always layers of some point, but it's like a big chunk of it will purge out energetically. And that's like kind of clear, you know, like clear that, if that makes sense. So Lena says, I'm not sure what the heart is about, but I feel like it's going through a cracking open. Yeah. And sorry, I know that you said that before. You've been feeling some grief coming up and nowhere to. Yeah. So that's that. So if you can imagine when that gets pulled out, it's going to be painful in a way. Like energetically, it's almost like, if you can imagine that spear being thrown in your back energetically, for all this time it's been lodged there, sort of thing, and now you're aware of it, and however and whenever you remove it, trust the whole process, of course, and timing, so important. That, you know, if you can imagine that an arrow or spear being pulled out, you can imagine, right? And it's like all the grief and all the hurt, and there might be anger, and, you know, it might kind of rock the energetic field, it might rock the physical field, so there might be some tension through the family system a little bit while that, you know, energetically unthreads in a way. But yeah, just for the next 4 months particularly, just be mindful that, you know, this is coming up and out, which is good. This is the time, right? And it's interesting, I'm working with a couple of clients at the moment, and it's like, you know, when we have been in an environment for a long time, and then we physically separate from that environment, sometimes our physical body can have all these like physical reactions. So like pimples or, you know, sores or illnesses, and all of a sudden we get really sick and we're like, oh, what's going on? Like, why is all this coming up? And because we've left the physical vicinity of that environment of where it was all happening, like our body is like, oh, I can relax, right? Energetically as well. We're not like on edge because we know all this stuff's going, you know what I mean? And we're like, we need to get out or whatever. And this is any environment, not just a normal, not just an intimate relationship. This could be related to any environment, right? And we know, and then we eventually leave. And so our body relaxes, all the stuff comes up and purges out. And so for the first 6 weeks to, you know, 8 weeks of leaving a physical environment, it can feel really weird and hard and wow, what's going on, right? But it's like this purging process, because now you've left that physical environment. Energetically, you're coming into yourself, and you're not intertwined energetically in a physical way every day around all these other energies that your body's been trying to process. And especially when you know it's out of alignment, and then you're like, you know, and you come out of this physical environment, and you're like, whoa, and so your body purges all this stuff out, and then you're really like, whoa, this is who I am, and wow, that wasn't me, and I was carrying this stuff, or just was feeling sick all the time, and now I'm not, like after we do a big purge, right? So yeah, so it can be very powerful time. But then when we first leave, but then also at the 6-month mark, 12 months can be a bit, and then at that 18-month point, that's when it's like really can purge out. So yeah, so really allow this time coming up. So yeah, working on worthiness, that was dropped into that. So how interesting. how interesting, right? All right, so can we please have some yes please if you would like a reading? You're so welcome, Lena. Yeah, thank you. So Terry says that's what happens when you holiday from a stressful job. Yes, exactly, right? Let's go on a holiday, and that's why sometimes we get back from holiday and we're like, I haven't felt like I've been on holiday because I've been processing all this stuff, even just energetically and physically adjusting. Like, ugh, it's a big deal, right? It's a very big deal. Very, very big deal. All right, so just having a look here. So Natalie says, it's still my fortune. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Okay. So Terry says, oh, hi Terry. You just stumbled upon my live. Okay. All right. So this Chris J. Blunt. Hi. I think I've read for you a long time ago, actually. I was like, no, I don't know this Chris. Oh, actually, I think I do. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so this one for you, Chris. All right, I'm going to try and get to as many people as I can this live, because I haven't lived for ages. Oh, I'm like used to knocking the cards to clear them with my right hand, but I can't just yet. Such habit. Okay, so this is, I'll just bring these comments up. This is for Chris. Okay, so you just have to bear with me with these cards because I'm still learning them. I don't even know how to pronounce this one, but it's all the threes and it's the beautiful tiger. So Yeshe, I'm not even going to attempt it. The tiger, I'm going to call it. On the page 33, card number 33, and it's like the harmonic resonance of 333 is what that's about. I think from memory. Wait on. Oh, look, it tells you how to pronounce it. Yeshi Sogal, something like that. Okay, let's go and read it and then see what jumps out at me at the same time. So, you shall overcome all obstacles. Success is imminent. So stay connected to your path no matter what and continue to apply yourself. Okay, Chris, do you feel like you've just had a side swipe? I know a lot of us have, but I'm like, you're just like, yeah, everything's good. And then all of a sudden it was just like, woof, like literally knocked you off your feet. You're like, what is actually, where did, like, you feel like you're in a lot of shock at the moment, right? So allow your spiritual path to support you in all areas of your life. Live by your spiritual beliefs. Seek out the support of your spiritual brothers and sisters for help when needed, but also trust that you are intimately and directly connected to the powerful divine light within. There can be a dramatic healing breakthrough when you rely upon your spiritual connection. Okay. Yeah, sure have. Okay. And also, have you dropped all your self-care in that moment as well? Which is very normal when we're in shock. We're just like, almost like paralyzed or immobilized. Like we can't even, taking care of ourselves is the last thing that we want to do in that situation, right? But as it says, seek out the spiritual support, which is why you're here, right? I imagine so. Okay, so I'm just going to see what jumps out at me about this. So it says, it indicates that a negative time is drawing to a close and encourages commitment to the task of overcoming negativities through spiritual practices suited to you. So yes, in work mode, yeah, it's very common in shock and trauma to just, okay, I'm just going to work and keep a normal routine. And it can be really impactful. Like it's important to still do routines and still do normal life, but I think that sometimes we can flick into that state and then never come back to actually healing from what happened. So having goosebumps, and sometimes that's just because we don't feel safe or supported enough to even know how to deal with whatever's the freaking just whatever what just happened actually. Like, do you know what I mean? So spiritual practices suited to you Could be running, could be gym, could be meditating. Like sometimes all of those practices are even too hard to do when we're in this shock, flight and fight, just got to keep going mode. Sometimes the best thing to do is to watch a movie that you know makes you cry and get some pizza and some wine and just bawl your eyes out. Best thing to do, right? Maybe some chocolate as well is probably really important to have at the same time. And sometimes that can be the most supportive and loving thing to do, because until we get that first big cry out, usually we'll just keep going. We will just keep going, and then that can manifest later on down the track as depression or anger or fatigue, right? Because we're trying to hold down that bubble of grief. Doesn't work, right? Not over a period of time, not over a long period of time. Okay, so keep an eye out for synchronicities in 3. So if you're not sure what to do to start with, or you're not sure where to go, look out for the 3 number. This says it in here, like, I just saw it somewhere. It just said there to look for signs in numbers of 3. So if you're not sure, but you're like, okay, keep going. Oh, there it is again. Oh, look, there it is the 3rd time. Okay, I need to do that route. Need to do that route. Need to do that route. Need to do that path. Okay, I need to do that thing. Okay, I keep seeing it. Got it, right? This is the 33 card, number 33 card in, and it's the 333 harmonic resonance there. So with this, so Chris said that's a great idea, another layer of change. Yeah, definitely. And it's so important. Like sometimes we think those things are bad, and it can be the most supportive thing ever, especially when we just don't know what to do, how to heal or start this. We just do those, right? So yeah. I'm just going to have a quick look at the bottom card as well. The Sacrament of Extreme Unction. I don't even know what that means. I'd have to Google it. Your heart knows how to let go so you can find peace. That's literally what it says. Sorry, with what I just talked about, there we go. It is time for you to experience a spiritual closure. A beautiful new reality is opening for you. Entering it requires you to release your attachment to the past. You have been inwardly preparing for a powerful rebirth. Now is the time to trust in what is meant for you and move towards it with an open, trusting heart and peaceful mind. So that's the overlying message. So of course everything's meant to be, and everything, of course, in the bigger picture, and 5 years down the track, I'll probably be grateful at some point about that this has happened. Whatevers, can't friggin' see that right now, and that's all great in the grand scheme of things, but what a crock of bullshit at the same time, and I don't really care about that shit right now, and that's because still stuck in this, right? So as much and as beautiful as those words are, and in the grand scheme of thing, we know that this closure had to happen in some way, shape or form, but it's kind of like, I don't want to freaking look at that right now. Like, no, you know, like it's like, don't even go there, right? Awesome. Yes, to trust to open my heart. Yeah, exactly, right? So it's so important to, you know, and the biggest thing to open our heart is to cry our eyes out. Like, it softens our heart. It literally defrosts the feelings that are keeping our heart frozen, you know? So yeah, it's so important to just start with the most easiest thing. And if that's just zoning out and watching a movie, like, just trust that. You have to trust that to start with, right? To start. This is how we can start. There's always the deeper healing, and and I'm sure everybody eventually does that, right? But in the moment, and when we're in shock and in go, flight mode, work all the time, oof, it's the last thing we want to do, right? All right, so who's next? So if I can please have some, yes please, Hannah, will be great. Hi Alison, lovely to have you join us. Okay. All right. You're so welcome, Chris. Lemurian. Is that for you, is it? All right. All right, Okay, feeling that is 2 here. So Terry and also Josephine. So Josephine first, but Terry. It's like both of you for some reason jumping out at me. So, okay, radical expansion. Check it out, the big rainbow serpent. So radical expansion, realm bridger. Okay, so you're teetering on the edge right now. You're going through this massive expansion or massive change, or like kind of in your face, have to deal with it. This is like way too big. Like, and I'm talking the past 6 to 8 months expansion. The realm bridger, I'm gonna have to check in the book in a second, but this, I don't know that this is the card meaning is what I'm saying about that. I feel like you're teetering on the edge. You're teetering on the edge. You've had all this expansion there. You're like, oh, do I or don't I? Oh, like, this is kind of how it feels, right? Teetering on the edge. Transformation. Transformation is the final outcome card. These ones kind of pulled out as well. I'm just going to have a look. So evolution, life force, energy, and journey to wholeness. Okay. That journey to wholeness would have been the bottom part of the deck because for some reason I just pulled those out. They're so beautiful. How freaking amazing are they? Artwork. Ah, the crystal keys. The crystal keys. Okay. All right. So you both are getting a lot of information from spirit, like a lot of ideas, a lot of intuition. The crystal keys, you can see the bubbles above her head, and this actually looks like light language coding through there, or some sort of sacred key language through those bubbles. And I feel like you're really getting a lot of information, and this is where you're teetering on the edge. You're like, can I trust this? Can I really, I don't know, hang on, I'm just gonna wait a minute. I'm not sure what I do with this, right? So I'm just gonna have a look at this realm bridger for a second. Okay, so realm bridger, visionaries, architects of the future, information from other realms. That's what I was getting. You're getting a lot of information coming through as well. Bridging the seen and the unseen, inspiration, seeding a new earth, traversing different states of consciousness, birthing new ideas, birthing ideas from subtle reality, and journeying. So like shaman, journeying, meditating. Yeah, Terry says nearly overwhelmed by the amount. Yeah. So lots of information streaming through, right? So you have a glimpse beyond your physical senses. Yes, you're getting all that information. This card is about bridging the seen with the unseen. So it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming when we're not channeling that information into something. Whether it's a book, whether it's a blog, whether it's a book that you'll never publish, whether it's, something else, or a video or a live stream or something. If it's not, if you're not, the information will be overwhelming because it's all backing up, right? If you imagine all these bubbles like coming through, and so all the bubbles are coming through, but if you're not channeling that into some creative activity, could be doing a painting, these beautiful paintings, could be doing a painting. If you're not channeling that into something physical, like it said, like bridging the seen and the unseen. Oh, where is it? It said bridging the seen and the unseen, like you're taking those ideas, that divine, guidance, those amazing intuition ideas, and bringing them into whatever medium and form, into physical reality. It will overwhelm you because it's backing up. There's so much that wants to come through, and the best way to do that is either meditate for minimum 10 minutes a day, just still mind meditation, just allow it all to just yourself receive it. It could be just receiving the energy, and or channeling it. It could be writing in a journal, could be, like doing all of that, right? So and this is where I feel like you're teetering on the edge, right? Teetering on the edge of like, okay, I've had all this expansion, all this stuff is like in my face. I've done a lot of work. Now this is kind of coming through and I'm like, what do I do with that? And whatever the final outcome card was, is transformation, right? And so sometimes we're teetering on the edge because we're scared of what that transformation looks like, which is a normal feeling when we're going through radical expansion from one life, moving through the realms and then into a whole new life, which is the transformation. Yeah. So, yep. Sorry, I just bring out these comments. So Josephine says, that's how I felt when I came on. Yes. Yes, I felt the call to sit on my mat every morning for a bit to ground stuff. Yes, sorry, I could get my words out. Yes, definitely let that. There's a lot of information that wants to come through, and the crystals, like this is the crystal keys. It's like, you know, you are the crystal embodiment. You are that information, like just like a crystal, to be able to put that into wherever that information wants to go, into your, you know, into your world, into your life purpose, you know. And you might not know what you're doing. Like, it's okay. Just write it down. Just write it down, because that overwhelming feeling will go away when you start actually writing it down or channeling it into a piece of art or something, whatever you do, right? So yes. Hi, Tamara. Yes, awesome. Okay, so can we please have some, yes please, Hannah. So I have a new list to intuitively choose from, would be amazing. So for those of you who are joining now, every time I finish reading someone, I just ask for a fresh list of yeses, because then I know who's also live, because some people jump off as well. And then I can intuitively scan through that new list there. All right, Alicia. Oh, I'm covered in goosebumps. Your mum's coming through really strongly, Alicia. I was going to say Alicia. Alicia, your mum's coming through really strong. Really strong. Have you been sad lately, Alicia? Because she's been around comforting you, even covered in goosebumps. Really strong. I feel like you've been doing, these goosebumps are not going away. Oh, she called you Leisha. Right, of course she did. So reward yourself has come up, and then ground yourself, and then release and surrender. So I feel like there's been, I want to say something that's knocked you, but it just feels like you're, I don't know, like it's like you're overwhelmed and burnt out and overworked, but you're not. And the sense that I'm getting is that you don't feel good enough, and you're trying to do all these things to like make sure everything's perfect and everything's got to be like amazing, because then I'm good enough to make sure that it's all amazing, right? And I feel there's some, I'm covered in goosebumps, there's some connection here with your mum about this, around like, I don't know, I don't know what sort of relationship you guys had, of course, but there's something that, and it's like the reward yourself, like it's even a little girl angel on this card as well, and it's almost like, so I don't know what sort of relationship you have with your mum, sorry, I'm clearing energy as well, but it's like you were good enough, but it's almost like she regrets not telling you enough that you were good enough, or that you were just loved, or that you were like, do you know what I mean? It just feels like she's message is trying to come out. She's regretful of how much she didn't give you, and I'm seeing you she's showing me like you with your eldest daughter. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Layla. She can't, she sees you with Layla, and she's regretful that she wasn't like that with you. I don't know what sort of relationship you have with your mum, of course, but it's almost like and the reward yourself is like she sees how much you're giving and is like, honey, you're doing amazing. Like, I wish I feel bad I didn't do that for you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the sort of sense that I'm getting from her. But she's been around you lately, so I don't know if you've been like upset or a bit melancholy or something's not 100% lately, and she has been around you to be like, it's okay, everything's gonna be okay. And so covered in goosebumps. And then the ground yourself is like, I feel like this is for you around self-care. So like spending time in nature, of course. You know, I don't know if you gym or exercise or whatever you do, but just up the self-care levels, because it feels like something massive is shifting in your life right now, and really like it's huge. And I feel like this portal for you this next few weeks, or even like I'm hearing June, I'm not sure if June has significance for you or not, but it's almost like there's this big kind of chunk of, you're going through a massive transformation right now. I know we just come off the card of transformation before this, but there's something that's coming through, you know, and the kind of like all you need to do right now is know that you were good enough, ground yourself in taking care of yourself. Like all you need to do right now is just take care of yourself. The rest will take care of itself in a way, right? You are good enough in that regard, but also release and surrender. It's kind of like you can't control everything. You can't keep everything perfect all the time. Like it's not up for you to worry about in a way. You know what I mean? You know that saying, what do they say? Grant me the serenity to change what I can and the wisdom to know what I can't, or whatever. Like, you know, that thing. And I feel like that's very much on that release and surrender. But it makes me wonder what that is around your mum as well, like around the release and surrender, around like, yeah, like just, it's almost like the pattern is from her and she's sorry for that. She's sorry for that. So she loved that quote too. Okay. That's why I was like, yeah, okay, right. That one. You know what I'm talking about then. So the fresh air card is like, take a break. And look, there's a little boy on that. Take a break. Just do this. Like, just, it feels like there's been trying to be good enough or change stuff to be good enough, but you don't need to. Like, you don't just, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah? Well, I'm covered in goosebumps. Okay? Okay. Covered in goosebumps. So that's for Alicia. Might be a bit of grief still to come out or something like that. I'm speechless. Yeah, like there's mum healing stuff going on there, and she's been hanging around because she just feel like she feels guilty for the way that she was with you or something. I don't know, there's something about it. You can have a conversation with her. Just talk to her as though she's still here, which I imagine you probably do at times. But she can hear you, right? And just trust if you feel like you get a message, or you just start thinking about something randomly, or a song, or I don't know, you find old letters or something. I don't know. Know that you're hearing correctly. That's for sure. Yeah. Okay. So did I say for people to say yes, please? So if people can say yes, please. So is it Tennille? She says, I'm in a dark place. What should I do? Is my love life going to last? If you're feeling like you're in a dark place and you're asking that question, you probably already know the answer to that question. Sometimes we already know deep inside and we're like, no, this can't be happening. And we're like, is it going to last? Like, we're asking other people because we already know we don't want it to be the last, in a sense, right? So when you say you're in a dark space, like, do you have support around you? Are you in my Reality Awareness support group on Facebook? Because that is where you can reach out for support and post in the group. If you don't have anyone around you can speak to about this, that group is where the support is at. So yeah. Okay. All right, so I've got a new list of cards. Awesome. Names, I should say. Just lost your kid's dad. Do you mean he passed away or did you break up? So, all right. Okay, Angela Barwood is who I'm reading now. So Taneo, is that a breakup or did he pass away? If you can just let me know that. Oh, still covered in goosebumps. Okay, this is for, oh my goodness. I just read the name out. Passed away to suicide. Okay, I'll come back to speak to that in just a moment. Oh my goodness, who was the name that I just read out? I know who I was talking to. Me and names, not good. But give me a face or give me a picture and I'll remember it forever. This was for somebody. Please, can you comment your name? I know that you're, I know that you're here because you just said it. Yes, you, Angela. I was like thinking her name is something else because I must have just scrolled past it 10 times. That's so weird. I was like thinking it was something like, sorry, I'll just shut this now because the rain comes over. It's like rain and then sun and it's hot and humid and all sorts. So yes, Angela. Okay. Sorry guys. So weird. I feel like this is an important part though. So Angela, I was thinking your name is like starting with a C or a K or it's weird. It's like didn't have the Angela tone to it. Had more like a Christine or something. I don't know. Like, and so I just wonder if that's like, I don't know, means anything to you. Picking up something about a neighbor as well, Angela, and the card that actually fell out while I was shuffling is the Warrior Woman. Beautiful Warrior Woman fell out of the deck. If you weren't afraid, what would you do? And I feel like there's a little bit of this same energy for you, Angela, that I was picking up for Terry and Josephine, the teetering on the edge. Yeah, teetering on the edge, right? And you're like, if you weren't afraid, what decision would you make about that? What would you choose? So it's interesting because the bottom card of the deck is align your life. So what is no longer in alignment with who you truly are? Right? Something's shattered. Something is like distorted. Something is like making you question things. Something is making you doubt yourself. Something is like, what? Like, and then you like doubt yourself and then you kind of just go back into it because, oh, that must be me. That must be me or something, right? I don't know, there's something with that there, right? Amazing deck, yeah, Shireen. This is the Work Your Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. It is absolutely stunning. It is a beautiful, this deck. So, Angela, the Warrior Woman, if you weren't afraid, what would you do? What decision would you make? Because something is out of alignment and it's almost like I feel like you don't know. I feel like you don't know right now. I don't know, Hannah. Don't ask me that because I don't freaking know. Like, it's almost like you're in a very I don't know space. Interesting because the Keepers of the Earth is you're not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. I notice there's a lot of animals there. Now, I'm a very animal person. Of course, I've got a lot of animals around me, but I feel like you've got a lot of animals around you too. And I'm wondering if you've got physical animals, pets or what have you, or whether it is purely the metaphysical animals, the spirit animals. And then, so pulling 3 cards, then this card is no. So like the final outcome card, it's like wait, postpone, pause, say no. And like with this, it feels like not that way. Not that way, not anymore, but it almost feels like, it does feel like wait. It feels like more information will be provided to you. I just pulled another card from another deck, and here's the new dawn, right? The worst is now behind you and positive new experiences are on the horizon, but I feel like it's coming. I don't feel like it's quite here yet, but it's coming. It's almost like, I don't know. If you weren't afraid, what would I do? I don't know, Hannah. Stop asking me that because I don't know. Like that's kind of what it feels like right now, right? So I'm curious if there's a decision that you've been trying to make, or you're even like not even aware that there's a decision, but there's some things that have just been a bit off lately, and you're like, well, like it's almost like you brush it off because you're like, well, exactly that. Well, I don't know, like, you know. So let me know about that. Is Tennille still here? And yeah, I'll just wait to hear from Angela as well. And I'm going to do one more person. So if you can please say yes, please. Interesting. It does make sense. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But the whole no is like, I feel like more information is coming. And it's interesting because I was getting something about a neighbor earlier on, right? So I don't know what that means to you, but it's almost like it feels like you're alone, but you've got all these people around you, you've got all these animals around you, but you're alone. Like it feels like you're alone, right? So yeah. But I just feel like more information's coming. But to know that when you're not sure, to ask yourself this question, right? It's the best question. Like, and you know, you can also add in with that question, like, you know, if I wasn't afraid, which choice would I make? If I had no responsibilities at all, what choice would I make? Like, and just see what you get. You might not get anything because it might be blank because you're not used to even asking yourself that question, right? But yeah, just wait because more information is coming, yeah? And I feel like there's almost a part of like, you won't even need to know, like, I mean, you won't even need to know. You won't even need to, like, it'll unfold itself. Do you know what I mean? So you align your life. But I feel like there's a part of you that does already know as well, deep down. And you kind of, that's brushing it off if that was getting, you know. Okay. Oh, so Tennille. Okay, so Tennille's still here. So I just wanted to, like 4 months ago from suicide, like that's a pretty heavy weight to carry. Number one, are you in my Trust Intuition support group? Because I'd really recommend going in there. And if you request to join in there, or send me a message and I can add you in that group. It's my free support group. 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago on the Intuitive Healing Tuesdays, we spoke deeply about grief, and we spoke about when you lose somebody and how important it is to grieve, and sometimes we don't have space to grieve when we've got kids or family or whatever the freaking hell's going on, right? Plus, it was suicide, so you're probably carrying all this guilt from not being a good enough partner, or why, like probably all the questions, right? And so I want to ask you, like, do you have a counselor support at the moment? Like, do you have other family support around you? Like, who is around you? Yeah, so bad anxiety, can't talk to people much. Yeah, so anxiety is all the grief. It's all the grief in the heart. So the more that you can cry, so like I was sharing before for Chris, I think it was, pizza, wine, and movies, which I know is probably a little bit tricky when you've got kids, depending on how old they are, of course. But yeah, please request to join in that group so I can tag you in that video. And we spoke deeply about how to support yourself with the grief and going through that, because it's really important right now. The anxiety is going to make you not want to talk to anything or do anything or talk to anybody. But it's the grief. It's the pile up of grief sitting in there that, yeah, you need to, like, that's what that is, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm curious if you've got like people around, even like, yeah, like just like you need that support. So yeah, it's not like, I understand not being able to talk to people much, because in a sense of like, at the end of the day, you don't need to talk, you need to cry. That's really what that is about. So yeah. There's this Anna medium, so interesting. All right. Sorry, just blocking people. Message me for your reading. I don't know if they're bots or real people. Regardless, I'm like, whoever. Yes, I can definitely tag you, Terry, for sure. For sure. So Ray says, I'm so stressed. Uni is overwhelming on top of everything. Should I go part-time so I can start my business and not lose focus on that? 100% you should. But if you're overwhelmed, when we're overwhelmed, there's too much information. When we're overwhelmed, we're learning something new. You have to remember that when we're feeling overwhelmed, there's too much energy, it's too much. Like, yeah. So what can you do to just take a break for a minute? What can you cut out of your next week, your next month? How can you rearrange your schedule so there's more space? And if you can't, when it starts to slow down, can you plan something in now? Overwhelm is our brain neural pathways changing because we're learning something new. So the actual physical movement of our brain neural pathways, the electricity that fires in there, is changing because we're learning new information. That's what's overwhelming. When we can remember that, it's like that's where we can to kind of take the overwhelm out of the overwhelm, because like, okay, cool, just learning something new, right? So yeah, just be working on that bit of the balance stuff there. Okay. All right, so this card, I saw a name here, Kim. So Kim Gracion and also Allison. There's two people for this one. So Allison Slipper and Kim Gracion. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. All right. My old rusty brain is kicking in. Exactly, right? Exactly. Exactly. All right. Okay, so this one, the leap of faith came out. So, Ray, maybe this is for you as well. The leap of faith. Take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. So what have you been turning a blind eye to? There's light at your fingertips. You can see on that picture, there's light at your fingertips, but you're not really ready to receive it yet, or you haven't quite stepped into it. The next one that came out was you are a healer, the medicine woman. You are a channel for divine healing power, also known as healer, medicine woman. And this one, like, take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. I do feel like that is definitely around the light there. Yeah, you're not ready to receive it. And so the endings and beginnings, Kali, we all know this one, right? The old must be released so that the new can enter. So you have to let go of the old. You have to let it go. You have to allow it to drop away. Like, it's right there, but it's almost like, see, I know this is like a silly thing, but so all the lights at, oh my god, it's back to front. The lights at the fingertips and our hand, but all this darkness, even though it's not dark, it's kind of still, it's purple. It's like spiritual light. It's like, it's all good. But it's like, there's more that you're not actually receiving yet, right? Medicine woman, and there's a change coming up. Yeah, there's a change coming up. It's going to relate to your heart. It's going to be, you know, a bit rocky. It's going to hurt the heart a little bit, a lot maybe. Maybe you already know this. You've already known this too, right? And then the transformation, another transformation card out of different deck is the butterfly transformation. So you are experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. Yeah. So the butterfly maiden is around that there. So I can see the rocks in the background. I'm wondering what I'm looking at. It's rocks. So yeah, it might get a bit rocky, but I feel like overall it's creating the bright future, right? It's what you're hoping for, what you're scared of. And then true love, follow your heart. See, put your heart's desire into action. Where is your heart leading you? And this is another question similar to what I was talking about with Angela. So if I had no responsibilities whatsoever, what would I be choosing right now? and you need to go with that, and that's going to strengthen your heart muscle, it's going to strengthen your intuition, it's going to strengthen all of those pieces there, right? So yes, true love, romantic stirrings in your heart have propelled the universe to deliver great love to you. So I just feel like there's something else here with that, the heart. Oh yeah, so like the light's there and you see it, you do live it, but there's something else just, it's kind of hanging around. It's almost like, I know it sounds similar to what I was talking about on my live stream the other day with the realization of who am I without my traumas. So it's almost like this purple is a spiritual light related to the crown chakra. So what ideas have you been getting that are maybe not in alignment with the light? But if you take the leap and know that you are being guided by your intuition and that this is more the path for you to go, then that needs to change so that you can have the bright future you've been dreaming of, and the romantic stirrings in your heart have propelled the universe to deliver great love to you. That is coming into a deep sense of love within yourself and life, because then we feel abundant, then everything else falls into place, right? When we've got that solid grounding of like that love for us to create the bright future. Stop worrying, everything is going to be fine. See that? Ta-da! Perfect. You're forever seeing white butterflies. Ah, amazing. Just some more butterfly confirmation for you, right? I love seeing butterflies. It's like I've like shifted through a big portal of something, right? So yeah. Oh, it's really hot in here without the window open. I feel like I'm all shiny. All shiny. Definitely been doing this for the last 2 weeks. Ah, amazing. Kim says, I've been told I'm meant to be a healer. Did I just say that before? Ray needs more than a leap right now. Yeah, it sounds like you need some space. Some space. Some space so you can leap in a way. Amazing. All right. Okay, guys, thanks for joining live and for listening. So Alison says, I had to let go of the need of being in control. Yes, exactly. Because if I have nothing to look after, what is there in my life? Oof, that's big. That's big, right? I find that with a lot of, I guess, women who've had kids and the kids are growing up, and this is where like young mums, pregnant mums, and are like, and they're worried they have to give up their purpose work or their career or whatever. And it's like, no, like, you don't, unless you want to be a full-time stay-at-home mum, there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes when the kids grow up, they've lost their purpose. And so I feel like it's so important for women to continue doing their hobbies and everything like that. Like, of course, as soon as you give birth, have a break, but like don't give it up, because you're also showing your kids that you can follow your heart and your purpose, right? So yeah, it's massive, isn't it? Yeah, goosebumps for sure. Yes, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, Terry. I shall tag you in the group. So thanks for joining live, guys. If you'd like to book a psychic reading, of course, you can click on the link there and book your private reading. Otherwise, you can join our free support group on Facebook, Reality Awareness Support Group. You can type it into the Facebook search bar, Reality Awareness Support Group, and request to join. So every Tuesday in there, I do Intuitive Healing Tuesdays, which I give intuitive healing advice to, so that you can work through whatever is going on for you and shift your life so that you can be free and do what you really want to do amongst all the noise that the world offers up to us on a daily basis. So I shall see you guys soon. You're so very welcome. Love you. Mwah.